Oh, Skyzoo is in the building here. See if I can send him a request. Here we go. We are ready. What up?
Yo, yo.
How you doing, man?
What's going on?
Word. Thanks for coming through, man. I really appreciate the time.
Oh, man, thank you for having me, man. Can you see me good? Is everything all right? I'm trying to make sure.
I see you good.
I don't do the lives too much. I'm trying to make sure everything is all right.
You're good. I just want to start off by now saying welcome everybody to the Leedz Edutainment Podcast. We got special guest, Brooklyn's own Skyzoo in the building.
Yeah. What up?
Word, man. Well, like I said, thank you for taking the time. I know you've been busy. You got a family, and it's just a crazy time. And the grind is the grind. And we've worked together. We've done shows for almost 10 plus years now.
Easily 10 years, man. You know what I mean? So when you hit me like, yo, want to have you on the joint, I was like, of course. You know what I mean? We've been rocking for the longest, so of course, you know what I mean? It's all good, you know?
Word. I really appreciate that, man.
Yeah, I'm in my studio basement. The basement's a little warm for whatever reason, so you're going to see me do this. But we rocking and rolling, man. You know what I mean? This is where I recorded half the album at my crib in the basement, you know what I mean? In the studio basement.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
Are you in New York still, or are you somewhere else?
I'm in Atlanta now.
Oh, word.
Yeah, you can't get no studio, basement, man cave, all that in New York. You know what I mean?
Word. And the album he's talking about is the All the Brilliant Things that just came out, correct?
Yeah.
Word. So we'll take people back a little bit because you are born and raised in Brooklyn, correct?
Yep.
Now, from what I read, Crown Heights, Bed-Stuy?
So I was born in Crown Heights. There's a housing project called Ebbets Field. That was my first home. And then when I was about 10, I moved to the Style with my pops. So, that always was home for me because I was like 9, 10 years old when I moved in with my pops in the Style. And kind of just like Trey and Boys in the Hood, like that's where I kind of came of age. So that's home. Of course, Crown Heights 100%. Like, those are my peoples as well, and it's love, you know what I'm saying? That was my first place of living. But I was a little kid, 4 or 5 years old, you know what I'm saying? My first stomping grounds was up and down St. James, you know what I mean? And then later, my pops moved to Southside, South Jamaica, Queens when I was in high school. So I was back and forth between Brooklyn and Queens. So shout out to the whole Southside. That's my second home, you know what I mean? But even back then, even when I was in Queens, everybody knew, oh, Sky, the Brooklyn guy. That's the Brooklyn guy, you know what I mean? So, yeah, St. James all day.
So what's the difference between for people that aren't from New York, what's the difference between living in Crown Heights and living in Bed-Stuy?
Not that much. The Styles is more brown. The Styles more brownstones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where Crown Heights is gonna have more projects. But you got both. You got projects in the Style, of course, and you got brownstones in Crown Heights. So it ain't that much of a difference. There's a big Jewish population in Crown Heights. As you know from the '80s with the riots and all that. But ain't really too much different. It's all Brooklyn.
Well, now you talk about growing up close to where Biggie was at.
Up the block.
Yeah. And that had a big inspiration on you, I take it?
Yeah, because, we was little kids running around on the block, you know what I mean? And just playing ball and splitting a hero and, all that, you know what I mean? And 50 Cent, Tropical Fantasies and all that. And we running up and down the block. And the guys, the OGs that was on the corner or sitting on the steps or leaning on the car was Biggie and Junior Mafia and D-Rock and Hawk and all these guys that everybody knows now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So but they was just the OGs in the neighborhood, and then one day, all of a sudden, a song is on the radio called Juicy. You know what I mean? And you're like, whoa, and then they shooting a video on the block for Juicy. And you're like, yo, what's going on? And you see all the OGs doing it. And then the next thing you know, that OG Big is the biggest thing in the world. And it's like, whoa, this is crazy. And for me, I was already rapping as a little kid. I started rhyming when I was 9. So that was all the inspiration I needed. I was already inspired and I already was like, yo, this is what I'm going to do, forever. This is what I'm going to do with my life. But once I saw Biggie from up the block, I could walk to Big House in 45 seconds. You know what I mean? Once I was up the block and he blew like that, I was like, oh, nah, this could happen. Absolutely, this could happen. You know what I mean? That was all the inspiration you needed.
Speaking of inspiration, you write down a few interesting other inspirations I was reading. You got Biggie, Jay-Z, Mos Def, but you also put Chia Lee and Kid
Yep.
and Play as some of your bigger inspirations too.
Absolutely.
Can you explain that? Because that's you
Well,
don't hear that a lot. I don't hear like inspired by Chia Lee and Kid and
well,
Play.
Chi is the reason I started rapping.
Right, I know.
She was the reason I started rapping. So, as far as the inspiration from that standpoint, like I probably would have started rapping later because it
Yeah,
became the thing to do. But
right,
at 9 years old, Video Music Box, Ralph McDaniels, I'm watching on a Saturday, like every
right.
Saturday, little kid, and this video comes on, boom, 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 and I was like, yo, what's that? And I'm watching, and I see this little 15-year-old kid. Little girlie, listen to me. Stop giggling and kissing to me. And I just was frozen. Like, what is this? Because I never really seen a kid
Right,
doing it like that. And if they was doing it, they were my age or younger. So they
right,
seemed like peers. He was kind of in between. Like, he was a teenager, so he was somebody I could look up to, but he wasn't too old where I felt like he was out of reach.
right.
Like he was 15 and I was 9. So I was done. And the minute that went off, I said, Ma, that's what I want to do the rest of my life. You know what I mean? And that was it. I never looked back.
And what about the Kid and Play inspiration?
They were just legends, man. Those guys is legends. I know the House Party Battle by heart. I remember I tweeted that to Kid like a month ago, and he wrote back like, "Damn, that's crazy." Like, you know the joint. I was like, I know that shit by heart. You know, what I mean? Like the whole battle by heart. I could mute the TV and run it when it comes on.
Yeah. So you started rapping, you said 9 years old? Is that what
I
it
was
was?
9. Yep.
Damn. And you started putting out like tons of mixtapes, right? Wasn't that like
Yeah.
what you did? Like when did you
Yeah,
start putting out music, like mixtapes and stuff?
Yeah, because that was the era, where you
Right.
got hot off
Yeah.
of just putting mixtapes out. Like you put out free music, free mixtapes, freestyles over other people's beats, a few original joints, and you just ran. You know what I mean? I came from that mixtape era, the G Unit era, Dipset era. I came from that, but I was doing it on that side, but also on more of like a fat beat side as well because of the type of stuff
Right.
I was into. I was into both sides of the fence. I love G Unit and all that, and I love Slum Village and all that. So I was kind of in between. So I'm at Fat Beats after work or before work when I had a regular job, and I would just hand out my joints, you know what I mean, and just build my buzz and build my fan base. So I came from that mixtape school.
Yeah. You said your regular job. Your regular job was Morgan and Stanley. The story is that you went out on lunch break and didn't come back and then went
No,
got fired. Is that what it is?
I came back. I worked at Morgan Stanley. I worked at Kinko's before that. Kinko's was probably my longest job.
Word.
To this day, if I walked in a FedEx Kinko's, I could probably run everything because I worked there for so long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Making copies and reports and books and business cards and all that. But so that was my first job. And but I worked at Morgan Stanley. That was the last job I had. And I was on my lunch break. And one of my mans called me while I was on my lunch break, and he was offering me to go do some other things. And I was like, nah, I'm cool. And he was like, yo, you sure? Like, we could go boom, 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 get this money, boom, 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 go out of town. And I was like, nah, I'm cool, man. I got this job, blah, blah, blah. I'm cool. So that conversation ran later than I was supposed to be back at lunch. Like, if I'm supposed to be back at 1, I didn't get off the phone till like 1:10, 1:15, because I was denying this situation. And when I got back to the job, I got fired for being late. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I just was turning down the bad thing to do the good thing, and I'm in trouble. Like, you know what I mean? So
Right.
that became a song called For What It's Worth on the Salvation on my first album. Like, when that happened, I was so mad, and I was like, yo, I got to make a record about this. And 3 years later, that was 06. So 3 years later in 09, I made a record about it called For What It's Worth. But yeah, that was my last job. I haven't had a job since 2006. Everything has just been music, ghostwriting, touring, publishing. I haven't had a job since 06.
That's great, man. And that's a big jump. A lot of people don't realize that initial jump from being part-time in the music business to full-time. That's huge jump.
Yeah, I'm
like making it.
My mortgage is off of music, my lights, my studio, my sneaker collection, my vacations, my savings, everything is off of music.
Which one's the most expensive expense? Sneaker collection?
No. I used to be crazy, man. I slowed down a little bit, man. My son's sneaker collection is crazier than mine now. I get what I want, but my son gets everything. He don't even know what he got. He's 3, you know what I mean? But I just buy him everything.
Wow,
Like,
he's 3 years old and he's 3 years old and he's got a bigger sneaker collection.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's
You're
the only
spoiling
way
that kid.
That's the only way I'm gonna have it. I spoil him rotten, man. But yeah, my mortgage is nice. It's cheap based on New York, but yeah, you know what I mean. Like all the stuff is off music though. You know what I mean?
That's dope. That's great, man. That's the dream right there, right?
Yeah, 100%.
If
To
anything
everybody watching,
else,
man.
that's the dream.
Yeah, to everybody watching, you know, if you making music, you making art, whatever your passion, your craft is, man, you can be rich without being rich. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to have 100 mil. Granted, 100 mil is beautiful, and we all would love that. You don't have to have Drake bank account to feel like you made it. You know, I think that's the misconception in our world as far as hip hop, the music industry, and things of that nature, and anything that's popularized as far as art and creativity. If you live in your life where you don't have to work a regular job, a 9 to 5, and you're not struggling, all your bills is paid on time, you got money in the bank, you chilling, you buying cars for your family, you taking trips with your family, you can live how you want to live, you rich. You made it. If you're doing that off your art and your passion, you rich. You know what I mean? Like, no, you don't have 100 mil in the bank, but you don't have the problems that come with 100 mil either. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you rich, you know?
Totally agree with that. You know, more money, more problems. It does, you know, the more you have doesn't mean the happier you are.
Right, right.
Yeah. So I want to go back to the mixtapes. How many mixtapes did you drop until you dropped that Cloud9 mixtape? How was the grind? Because I feel like
I might have had like 3 or 4 before Cloud9. Yeah, I might have had like 3 or maybe 4. And just running around with those, being in front of Fat Beats, being at every spot, being at Burkina. Everybody on here from New York, you know Burkina, baby. My man Amadou at Burkina, you know, the little mixtape spot at LES, the African mixtape spot. He had everything. If you was in Burkina, you was it. It was hard to get your shit in Burkina. And I used to get my shit in Burkina every trip, man. He would show dumb love, my man Amadou. But, you know, so I was just making the rounds in New York. You know what I mean? Just making the rounds, taking trips out of town. I would go to Connecticut, Delaware, Philly, Jersey, you know what I mean? Baltimore, like with my tapes, you know what I mean? And just going to the white T-shirt stores and the mixtape stores and just putting my shit in there, you know what I'm saying? And all that just turned into me bubbling. And then, you know, Cloud9, the EP came later and, you know, rocking and rolling.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, you know, the younger generation now don't realize how much of a grind that was having to get your mixtapes off.
Absolutely.
Not only did you have to pay to press them up and give them away, they cost you money to just give them away even, you know? It was a tough grind.
It's awesome that you brought that up, man, because this generation now, you know, with the internet, you make a record in your basement, you put it on SoundCloud, you send the link to everybody. I think that's great because you can get it to the world. I used to have to ship CDs all over the country and overseas. If a fan randomly hit me on MySpace, like, yo, man, I heard your stuff and I would love to get a CD. I got to go mail a CD to, you know, Australia. You know what I mean? And like, I used to go to work, come home, and I would be up all night putting CDs in cases, 5,000. You get 5,000 CDs, 5,000 covers, 5,000 cases. And I'm sitting in my mother's living room at 21 years old, just putting them together. And every day I would take like 50 joints with me in a shoulder bag. And I was out, you know what I mean? And it cost, you had to pay for all that, you know, like, and you had to beat the street, man. Like, you had to go out there and beat the street. You couldn't just sit home and send a link from your phone. Like, you had to go out there and get with the people and like convince people to take your music, listen to it. Funny thing, man, I talk about giving free music away back in the mixtape days. And I remember in 2009 when the Salvation came out and I did an install at Fat Beats. And somebody came up and they bought the record and took pictures and all that, got my autograph, and they was like, yo, man, in 2005, you gave me a CD for free at SOBs. And I didn't know who you was, whatever. You gave me the CD. To this day, that CD never left my car. And that's why I'm here now at the in-store. And I was like, damn, that's real. You know, so it's that type of stuff, man. Like, it's the grind. You had to beat the street.
Yeah, and you know, the abuse that you would get sometimes on the street, someone don't want your CD or like, you know,
but
you'd have to eat that shit, man.
Everybody was trying to sell their joints. I never sold mine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I gave them for free because I didn't think it made sense. I'm like, yo, if you don't know what this is, why are you gonna pay $10 for it? It's silly. It's like going into a clothing store and somebody says, yo, take this bag, it's $20, and you like, what's in it? And they're like, oh, don't worry about it, you're gonna love it, just take it for $20. That's the stupidest thing in the world. So I never sold my stuff on the street, man. If a store wanted it, Fat Beats or Amadou or whatever, I'd sell it to them on consignment. But I always gave my shit away in the street for free. So if you was like, nah, I'm like, no, it's free. Then they would be like, oh, all right, I'll take that because it's free. So if I don't like it, I could just Frisbee it, but it's free. You know what I mean? And then it just kept going from there.
So from the buzz on the mixtapes, you meet Justice League, right? That's how the Justice League and they liked your stuff, and do you link with Ninth on the Cloud Nine? Is
Yeah,
that how the whole process work? How the whole process work?
that was through my man Sean Don. Shout out to Sean Don, Dunny.
Yeah.
If you know him personally, you call him Dunny. So Dunny, I met Dunny through my man Ears Nights, and he took my mixtapes to North Carolina and was like, "Yo, I met this dude from Brooklyn. Yo, he's crazy. He's killing. Yo, we might have to do something, man. We got to get him down here." So they invited me to come to North Carolina, and I went out there for a week. And in a week, I did 15 records with Crisis, but it was Crisis beats, Ninth beats for 10 beats. And this one dude who Crisis introduced me to and gave me his info on AOL AIM, and it was this kid named Ill Mind. Yeah. And that's how me and my brother Ill Mind met. But yeah, I went to North Carolina for a week, and you know, I did 15 records in a week, and it was just love, just to do them. You know what I mean? Like, just to do them.
Yeah. And then in the Cloud Nine, it's like, was it a 3-day process? Is that the whole thing? Like,
yeah,
like
so that was
make an album in 3 days.
Right. So that was a year later. We did Cloud Nine, me and Ninth.
Yeah.
You know, Ninth had this thing where he would always give me beat CDs whenever I saw him. I'm this kid who had a job, getting on the train every day to go to work. Nobody knows me, you know what I mean? Whatever. But he would always give me a beat CD every time I saw him. And I had all these beats. I had like a stack of Ninth beats that nobody had. And one day I was like, man, I got to do something with all these beats, man. I'm just sitting here, sitting on them and whatever. So I wound up just going through beat CDs one day, and I picked a bunch of joints that I loved, and I did 9 joints in 2 days. And then I booked a flight to North Carolina, and I went and
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. I don't understand what is going on. Yo. No, there you are.
All right, yeah. I kept trying to request it. I don't know what happened. Like your joint was spinning. It was showing showing like if you wasn't connected.
I don't know what happened, but I'm glad we're back.
Yeah. Nobody was calling me. Somebody was like, "Oh, somebody must be trying to call him." Nobody was calling me. I told Heads I'm busy for a minute.
Sorry to everybody. That was a weird technical, but we're back here with
yeah, it's all good. Yeah, so you know, so back to what I was saying. You know, so I booked the flight to North Carolina. Ninth didn't know what I did as far as the CD, so I gave him a CD with these 9 songs on it. I was just like, "Yo, check this out." He took it home. So the next morning he called me. I was staying at Sean Don crib, and he called me. He was like, "Yo, what is on this CD? This is crazy." I was like, "Yo, good looking, whatever." He was like, "Yo, this is nuts. Like, what are you trying to do?" He was blasting in the background. He was like, "Yo, what you trying to do?" I was like, "Whatever you want to do." Like, he was like, "Yo, let's finish it." So I met him at the studio that day, and we did 3 songs in one day. That's how it became 12 songs in 3 days. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we did that, and I was like, "Yo, if you give me the go ahead, I'm gonna run. Like, I'm gonna run with this." And he was like, "Run. You know what I mean? You got it." He was like, "You got my you got my support. Run with it." I was like, "I don't need you to do nothing. All I need you to do is just give me the word, and I'm out." And he gave me the word, and I handled everything from the deal to the art to the radio to the video, everything. Like, I did everything on my own while going to work every day. I was like, "Yo, I just need you to say it's cool to do this." He was like, "Hell yeah, go for it." And I did it, and that was the start. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people was like, "Yo, I never heard of you, but you had 12 beats from Ninth, so I wanted to hear it." You know what I mean? And I knew that's what it was going to be, so it made sense. And, you know, we ran, and everything was great.
Yeah. And then you link up with, you know, that starts it, but then you link up with Primo pretty early too, right?
Yeah, me and my brother Torre.
Right. Let's talk about the relationship with you and Torre early, because I think that's important too. Like, you guys created a bond, working relationship. How did that all go? Yeah,
we met in like 2005.
Yeah.
I think we met through Sean Don as well. We met at a lot. Dunny did a lot. So we met in 2005, and yeah, we just got super cool. He was from Coney Island. I'm from the Sty, so it's all Brooklyn, and we just got super cool, man. And just had this. We had a lot in common right away. So it was love, you know, off the rip. It was almost like Red and Meth. Like, we didn't grow up together, but you would think we did, because we clicked so easily and so well.
Right.
So you know, so we started building, and then, you know, we did 2 records with Preem, and that was crazy. Click and Get It Done. Did those, and, you know, and his career was bubbling, my career was bubbling,
right?
And it just was rolling, man. You know, so that was like 2007.
Right.
That was 2007 when we did those 2 records, and it just kept bubbling, you know.
And that's around the time I think we met because I think we did the first show right around that time,
Yeah,
2007,
you
2008.
was my first show in Boston, man. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure you was the first. You started that.
Yeah, I'm a lot of people's first show in
Oh yeah,
Boston, especially underground hip hop.
my
No,
man.
and then from there, I think we did the show at Great Scots, and we built from there. And then I think I'm trying to think, and then soon after that, you do your technically was your first album, The Salvation? Was that technically your first
Salvation's my
album?
debut because I always felt like Cloud Nine, as dope as it was, you don't take 3 days to make your debut album. And there was a lot of stories and different things that I wanted to do on my debut album that I didn't do on Cloud Nine on
Yeah,
purpose. Cloud Nine I always called it an EP, even though it was 12 songs, it was an EP
right.
because it was a buzz starter. It was something I wanted to do to get the buzz going and get everything moving. And then once I had that buzz and the mixtapes, then I would make my debut album. So The Salvation is my official debut.
And that was on Duck Down, right?
Duck Down. Jamla
And
Duck Down. It actually was the first Jamla release ever.
What do you
Was
say?
The
The first what
Salvation.
is it?
The first Jamla release ever.
Ah,
Yeah, it was a Jamla Duck Down album because Ninth had hit me. We was family and making records and rocking, and he asked me to be on Jamla. He was like, "Yo, would you be down to be on the label and kind of jumpstart the label?" And I was like, "Absolutely." You know what I mean?
gotcha.
So yeah, so that was the first Jamla release ever, 2009. The Salvation, distributed through Duck Down, so it was Jamla / Duck Down.
Yeah, shout out to Duck Down. Uh,
Absolutely.
I think you went out of your way not to have any featured rappers on that album, didn't you?
Yep. It was the only feature was Carlita Duran, who's a singer.
Right, but no
Yep.
rappers.
No rappers. Nah.
Now,
Because I felt like if I'm telling my story
right,
about my entire life, nobody can help me tell that.
right.
If we doing something else, cool, but nobody can help me tell that. And that's how we got it.
And that's in an era where getting a featured artist is like what it's all about, too. And it was a gutsy move for you to be like, yeah, I ain't doing that. I mean, you went kind of went against the grain,
Yeah, because features help sell a record.
right?
Like
Exactly.
you say, yo, the first thing you see when people hear somebody dropping, they ask who's on it. Fans, media, press,
Yeah, no,
whoever, even the distributors, even like the stores, for those, watching who may not know how the inner workings of the industry go, when you're trying to get your stuff picked up by, whatever record stores are left, mom and pops, and then Target, who still sells records, and, places like that, Best Buy, who still sells a little bit of records, but then also, Apple and Spotify, the first thing they ask is, yo, who's on the record? What's the features? Because they want to piggyback it. Well, if it's this artist, but he got a record with Ross, and he got a record with Future, and he got a record with Drake, oh, that's going to help sell it. You know what I mean? So, it's all, the features help sell the record. And the producer credits. It's like, oh, who's producing it? It helps sells it. So, I didn't have no features on there except Carlita. It was just me. I didn't care. I was like, yo, we just going to run. You know what I mean? We're going to run and give the people what they've been looking for. It's a highly anticipated debut album, and we're going to run. And that's what we did.
You had solid producers on there though, right?
Yeah, I mean, Ninth did 5 joints. Knots was on it twice. Just Blaze was on it.
That's heavyweights at the time.
Best Kept Secret, and it was a unknown kid at the time who I introduced to Ninth named Eric G, and then Eric G wound up becoming a part of the family with Ninth and doing a bunch of stuff later on. But I brought Eric G to the table, so it was a nice mix, man. But yeah, it was Ninth, Knots, Just Blaze. I would say those probably were the biggest thing. And Illmind was on it, of course.
Yeah, I mean, and from here, man, you basically start working with everybody from a classic era boom bap, whatever you want to call it. You literally, I tried to write them all down. I couldn't. It was too many. Like it's harder to find someone that Skyzoo hasn't worked with than there is.
Agreed. Agreed. I mean, shout out to my bro Black Milk. Black was on the Salvation as well. And Needles. Damn, I'm remembering them all.
Yeah, I mean, talk about that, man. How about working with everybody? What's that like?
Yeah,
what?
You know what it's a testament to? It's a testament to 2 things, man. The talent and like those guys believing in me and being like, yo, he's dope. I want to rock with him. And then also the work. I was outside, man. I was outside with mixtapes. I was on blogs. I was at radio shows doing freestyles, college radio. I was working. So when I got with Just Blaze, he was like, absolutely, I got you. Because you working. You get busy and you working. You're not getting busy and you home chilling, getting high. Like you get busy and you working. I see you everywhere I go. I see you at the event holding it down. I see you rocking. I see you at the open mics. I see you on the mixtapes. I see you this. Got you. You know, so that's how that went, like just from doing the work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, who's left? Who's left to work with that you haven't worked with yet?
There's a handful. There's a handful.
Who should say it? I'd
I
like
know,
to
right?
know who this is.
I haven't worked with Madlib yet.
Okay.
I haven't worked with Alchemist yet. We've talked about it, but I haven't worked with Alchemist yet.
Yeah.
There's a handful. There's a handful of guys. But I've been blessed. We got two, right?
Two. Did you ever get a Jay Dilla? Did you get a Jay Dilla beat?
No, that's a rumor that I got a Dilla beat. So what happened was in 2004, I met Dilla in New York, and I met him, and we got, you know, like I was just like starstruck, like, yo, Dilla, boom, 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 and I gave him a CD that I had. I knew he was going to be at this MF Doom Madlib show, even though nobody knew he was going to be there. I just had a feeling he was going to pop out. This story is crazy. I had a feeling he was going to pop out. So I made this CD working at Kinko's called Dilla's the Greatest. And the cover was me and Dilla. I had my man do the art. It was me and Dilla together on the cover. And it was me rhyming over all Dilla beats. And I only made one copy, and that was for Dilla. Yeah. And I gave it to him. And I met him outside 4 a.m. I met him. Yo, what's up? He was mad cool. And I'm like shaking, like, yo, it's Dilla. Oh, my God. And I gave him the CD, and he looked at it. And he was like, yo, this is crazy. And I was like, yo, I'm not selling it. I don't want you to think I'm trying to make money off your name. And he was like, nah, this is crazy. Like, yo, this looks nuts. He was like, yo, I'm definitely going to check this out on the plane. And I was like, yo, good looking. And then he was like, yo, take my number. And I was like, what? He was like, yo, take my number. Let's build. So he gave me his number. And I waited a week. And then I called him. He's like, yo, I heard your CD, man. Your CD was crazy. Boom, 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 whatever. And I was like, yo, man, I would love to work with you. And he was like, absolutely. Like, I'm going to send you some shit. So I was like, yo. So he was like, I'm going to send you some shit, whatever. He was like, give me a call in like a week or two or whatever. I'm going to have some shit for you. So I was like, all right, bet. So I called him like a week later. And then he was like, yo, you know what's crazy? I'm in the record store right now buying records to make some shit for you. And I was like, word. He was like, yeah, because he literally said, he was like, I don't want to send you some shit that I sent to Common and I sent to Erykah Badu and then they pick it. Right. You wanted it. He was like, I want to send you your own batch. Word for word. He said that verbatim. He was like, so give me a minute. I'm going to send you your own batch. And I was like, oh, shit. So I'm bugging now. Like, yo, I got a regular job. And Dilla's about to send me a batch of beats just for me. Like, it's just crazy. And then he got sick. And we spoke one more time after that. And it was when he moved to Cali. And he was living with Common. Because he gave me the number. He gave me the Cali number, which was actually Common's house when he was living with Common. So he gave me the number there. Like, yo, hit me here too. Boom, boom, boom. And that was the last time we spoke. And then he got sicker and sicker, and then he passed. So I never worked with him, but people be like, yo, Sky worked with Dilla. And then, you know, nah, he didn't work with him, but he be lying, saying he did. I don't lie about shit. That's what happened. We wanted to work, and then he got sick, and we didn't get to. But I'm just honored at the fact that I was able to build any type of little relationship with him. You know what I mean? Yeah, for a while, my phone, back when you switched the SIM card in your phone, for like 5 phones, like 5 Sprint phones, I would never delete his number. Even after he died, like I would keep the number. Now that's obviously gone because, you know, nobody has those flip phones anymore. But for like 5 flip phones, man, I would never delete his number.
It's crazy, man. Rest in peace, Jay Dilla.
Absolutely.
One of the big albums one of my favorites from you is probably the Retropolitan album with Pete Rock. What was that process like, making that record?
It was amazing, man. That was Mike at Mellow Music Group. That was his idea. You know, I knew Pete, of course, you know, and you know, me and Pete was cool. Like you meet your heroes in the industry. So now you won with them. Now you know what I mean? Yo, what's up, baby? Boom, boom, boom. It's that type of thing. And we had always talked about working, but we didn't work. He had even sent me some joints and I did some stuff with him, but we never put nothing out. We just never was able to do it. You know, maybe 1 or 2 joints here and there, nothing crazy. And Mike at Mellow Music Group was like, yo, what would you think about doing an album with Pete? And I was like, hell yeah. I was like, Pete's my man. Like, so that's love. I was like, hell yeah, that'd be amazing. So then I think he reached out to Pete, and then Pete hit me. And Pete was like, yo, you ready to do this album? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Hell yeah. So the wheels had already started turning. And then we, what was that? January 2019, I went back to New York for 2 weeks. And we did the whole album in the studio together. We did the album over 11 days. It took 11 days to do that album. So A to Z. And if you know me as a writer, I write everything on the spot. Like, I don't write at home. I don't write on the plane. I don't write on the tour bus. I only write in the studio. So if we do a record, even if you send me the beat, I'm not going to touch it. I'll hear it. Like, oh, that beat is dope, but I'm not going to touch it. And then when I get to the studio, then I break out the phone and start writing. So I wrote every record on the spot in front of Pete. You can ask him, he'll tell you, writing every record. So we did that whole album in 11 days.
How long does it take you generally to write a verse and all? And hook,
A
chorus,
verse is like 20, a verse is like 20, 30 minutes. A song is like an hour.
Efficient.
Yeah, I move quick. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie, I move.
I can see why you can bang them out so quick, because you do it pretty efficiently,
Yeah.
man. That's
I move quick, man. It's a blessing from God, man. I'm a quick writer. On the new joint, on All the Brilliant Things, I actually wrote slower. For whatever reason, I just wanted to write a little slower. And but normally I'll bang out a verse in 20, 30 minutes, no problem.
Out of all the projects you've done, which experience stands out the most? You've done so
Probably
many.
this one. Probably All the Brilliant. Well, I mean, there's stories behind every one, man. All the Brilliant Things. You know, I went through so much during it. Like the first week of writing and recording All the Brilliant Things, August 2019, I had a back injury, and the first song, Free Jury, I'm leaning on the wall in the studio, rhyming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I needed the wall as a brace to support my back. So I moved the mic closer to me, and instead of standing up rhyming in front of it, I had to lean on the wall and be standing still, like up against the wall while I rhymed, because I was agonizing pain, man. Like, if you ever pulled a muscle in your back, it is the absolute worst. Like,
it is.
The only thing worse is probably childbirth, and it would take a woman to explain that. But yo, back pain is for real, man. Like, so I had this really bad back injury. I pulled a muscle in my back, and for that whole first week, man, like, I was leaning on the wall while I rhymed. It was like if I was almost in a makeshift brace. You know what I mean? So that, then, you know, I had vocal cord surgery because I had the polyp on my vocal cord, so I couldn't speak for a month. You know, that was a big thing. Yeah, you didn't know that last summer?
No, I didn't hear that. I know what that is. I know people that have gotten that. How does that even happen? How does that even happen? How do you even get that?
Touring a lot. Yeah, from touring a lot, using my voice a lot.
So just rapping too much?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I had a run in 2019, me and Elzai, shout out to my bro Elzai, we toured Metropolitan for like 2 months straight, every day. Boom, 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 boom. Every day we had a show. We had like one off day a week. You know what I mean? And I think that was a part of it. So, you know, I got home and I had this polyp. My voice just wasn't right. I lost my voice at one of the shows. And when I got home, I went to the doctor and they did an x-ray. It was like, yeah, you have a polyp on your vocal cord and we need to get it off and make sure it's not cancerous. So last summer, 2020, like during COVID, they went and, you know, cut it out. So I couldn't speak for like a month. So I had that. And then my grandma's passed, and that like broke me in half. So my grandma's passed in September last year. It was a lot, man. Even the day I'm mixing the album with my man AJ. Shout out to AJ. The last day of mixing, I get to his crib. For the last day of mixing, I'm parking the whip. The tire rubs up against the curb. Boom, I blow the tire on my Jeep. You know what I mean? Like, it was crazy. Like, we was like, yo, everything that could happen is happening. You know what I mean? So like, when I finished the album, I posted a picture of Huey from the Boondocks, and he was all like battered and beat up, and I was like, this is how I feel right now. You know what I mean? I was like, the last day mixing, I blow the tire on the Jeep. You know what I mean? Like, it was just crazy, man, but it was worth it. But you know, every album got a story, man. Me and Illmind, we did Live from the Tape Deck at his crib when he was living in the sty, and man, I recorded the whole thing in the closet. You know what I mean? He was like, yo, the acoustics in the closet. Yo, trust me. So I'm recording. I don't care. Like, I'll record in the shower, the closet. I'm not one of them other guys. Like, this, whatever. Like, you know, I kind of came out the dirt with it. So I'm in the closet, and his suits and hoodies is there, and I'm rhyming, speakers on blast. You know, there's a story for everything, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a story for every album.
Yeah. This new one, you talk about Bed-Stuy Burning. That's one of the big ones. Let's talk about the meaning behind that track and working with Hypnotic Brass Ensemble, because that's a pretty, what is that, like, how many piece band is that? That's
it's 9 of them.
Yeah. Let's talk about
9 of them. Yeah, we did that separately, so they emailed me that. Like, I sent them the record, And then I wish we was in the lab together, but
Yeah,
I'm in
crazy.
Atlanta and they live in Brooklyn. So
Yeah.
they emailed me that, but we did the video together. I've known Hypnotic for years, man. I've loved them. They're amazing. If you're not familiar with them, man, yo, Hypnotic Brass Ensemble, 9 dudes. They're all brothers, literally blood brothers, and they all play trumpet and sax and, all brass instruments, and they're absolutely amazing. So I knew them for years. We did a couple shows together and all that, but we always talked about doing some records. And on this one, I was like, yo, this is the one for y'all to be on. And I sent it to them, and they rocked it and sent it back, and everything was great. The idea came from this book by the same name called Bed-Stuys Burning by this awesome author named Brian Platzer. And I saw the book on the gram. Angela Yee had posted the book on her page. And I'm scrolling, and I just saw it. And I was like, yo, what is that? And it was a picture of the book, and it said Bed-Stuys Burning. And I was like, yo, that's nuts. So I ordered the book online, and I read it. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. And I wanted to kind of flip kind of a response to it, because his book is about a white couple that moves to Bed-Stuy and how they see the neighborhood and what's going on. So I wanted to flip it and write about someone from the neighborhood watching those people move in and what's what, and it just was the perfect setup for the album, because that's what the entire album's about: gentrification and cultural appropriation. So it was a dope, and the dopest thing about it, when it dropped, the dude Brian Platzer, who I didn't know, somebody tagged him on the page, and he hit me like, yo, this is amazing, this song is incredible, you got my full support, and me and him got real cool. So that was dope to get his sign off on it.
Yeah. Because you talk about gentrification in New York, I mean, it's really bad, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, no, that's what inspired the record, man. That's what the record's about. Cause
is that why you felt like you had to move, or is it just like cheaper?
No, I moved. No, I moved because of my son. Like, once my son was on the way, I just wanted to give him a better life. Like, he was born in New York, but I wanted to give him a house, a backyard, a playground, a pool at the crib, barbecues on the deck. Like, I wanted to give him a different life. Cul-de-sac, subdivision, do the lawn. You know what I mean? Like, I live in a super suburb now, man. I live in the suburbs. You know what I mean? So I wanted to give him that. So that was what did it.
Well, it must gotta be tough though, leaving the place that you grew up with, and you have the birth of hip hop and all that, and all of a sudden you're not there anymore.
Yeah, well, Atlanta's only 2 hours away on a flight. You know what I mean?
Really that?
It's 2 hours. Yeah, so no, driving is 17. You know what I mean? But on a flight, it's 2 hours. So I'm always in New York. Some people don't even know I moved because they see me in New York so much. Yo, Scott, what up? Ooh. Yeah. They don't even know I left.
It's a common thing for a lot of New Yorkers to move to Atlanta. I've seen it happen a lot.
Man, Atlanta's amazing, man. Atlanta's amazing, man. I love New York. New York is my heart, but Atlanta's amazing.
Well, let's talk about that, because you're now New York hip hop, right? You're a diehard, right? And you're in Atlanta, where the music scene, the sound out of Atlanta is a little different. Does it even affect you, or is you just not even like?
Nah, because what's crazy? There's like 2 scenes in Atlanta. There's the scene of like Migos and Lil Baby and all that, but then there is this whole other scene of
New Yorkers.
I hate to say the real, but more traditional sounding. You know what I mean? There's a whole scene with that, man. It's amazing. Like the lo-fi scene and the straight up lyricism, and there's a huge scene for it. You know what I mean? It's not like it's just trap rap, like it's kind of split in the middle. So you don't lose much.
Word. Well, my boy Peter Parker told me, I know he's a basketball fan. I know you're a basketball fan. I mean, how do you feel about the resurgence of the Knicks, man?
I love it. It was a Cinderella season. We didn't know this was going to happen. Nobody. If you're a Knicks fan and you believe this was going to happen, you're lying. You know what I mean? Like, straight up and down. Just accept the fact that they shocked everybody. You know what I mean? Like, so, but it was dope, man. It's good to see them getting busy again. But now the stakes is high now. You can't just say, yo, that was a fluke. It's like if somebody isn't that great, or you think they're not great, then all of a sudden they go crazy on a 10-minute freestyle. All right, now we expecting that. You can't go back to the other shit. You know what I mean? Like, now, so they got to hold up their end of the bargain, which they will. I got super faith in them.
Yeah, it's dope. Word, man. Well, we'll wrap this up because I know you got things to do. But, man, I really appreciate you coming through and doing this.
Yeah,
and,
no,
the new album,
having me, man.
the new album, All the Brilliant Things out now, man. What you got planned coming up? What's in the works?
Oh man, well this came out not even a week ago, so I'm chilling, man. I mean, I'm recording. I'm always recording right here behind me. I I got some verses I'm doing for some people and some ghostwriting, but you know, my actual new projects, I don't have nothing on deck yet because this just came out. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't got nothing on deck, man.
I want to stop you real quick on the ghostwriting. I don't want you to give out the details, but
Please,
how
yeah,
how is that? You know, how much of that are you doing? Is it lucrative? Is that lucrative? Like, how does it all work?
it's like 50-50 in my life right now, or 60-40.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, I
Wow.
spend a lot of time ghostwriting. It's dope, you know.
Major artist, major label
Oh
artist?
yeah, I got records on the radio that people would never know that I was behind. You know what I mean? Like, I'll drive and like be at a stoplight and the car next to me is playing something I wrote. Like, that happens all the time. You know what I mean?
Are you allowed to say what songs they are?
No. You gotta be a ghost, man. You gotta be Casper from the ghost.
If someone really wanted to see what it was, they would see the writing credits on the song, right?
Sometimes I structure it where I get my credits when my check comes in the mail, but I don't need to be in the artwork. Like, some people want to really, really be discreet with it. You know what I mean? Okay. And that's cool as long as the business is straight. I don't care. Like, whatever. I don't care if you know what I'm saying, want to say, yo, Scott wrote it for me. Like,
as long as the publishing checks there, we're good.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care about all the other stuff, man. Artwork is artwork, man. I don't care about that. But as long as I can buy my son stuff, I'm cool. You know what I mean? But, you know, so yeah, it's been cool, man. My brother Ilman looped me into that years ago, man. You know, I was trying to get into ghostwriting, and the people I was going through, it wasn't making sense. Like, they wasn't really. So what happened was I was meeting other ghostwriters, and I was trying to get in through them. And I was like, yo, you know, when you writing for so-and-so, call me and I'll come through and I'll help out and we could write together. And they're like, yeah, I'll call you. And I would never get the call. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not going to let me take food off their plate. But I ain't really see it like that. I'm just hungry and, you know, whatever. And then Ilman was working with some people. And when he came back home, he was like, yo, Scott, next time I go out there, you got to come with me, man. Like, they need writers. Yo, come through. And, you know, I booked a flight and went out with him the next time he went out, you know, where he was at. And he brought me in the studio and introduced me to mad people. And I just started gunning. And then they was like, yo, what's up? You know, and that was it. And I was working on this one project. I was supposed to be out there 2-3 days. I was out there 2 weeks just working on this one project, you know. And then while I was there, I was meeting other people. And all these different people was coming to me like, yo, what's up? Yo, let me get your number. Boom, boom. So now I'm bouncing around at different studios, no Skyzoo work, just all writing work, you know, and it became a thing. And I've gotten flown all over the country, overseas, whatever for writing work. And it's cool, you know what I mean? It's a nice side of supplemental income and all that. But my job one is Skyzoo, the artist, because that's the music that the people that are watching right now, that's the music that they fell in love with and what they relate to, not the stuff that I pen for somebody else and they don't know who it is. You know what I mean? Like, so job one for me is being an artist, but the ghostwriting is a nice second job, you know.
It's a very nice second job.
Yeah. It's cool. And you get to rock with a lot of people, like a lot of my fans would never know I'm in these other circles. They were like, no way, it's Skyzoo at so-and-so's house where it's, you know, 5 floors and, you know, chefs and maids and butlers, and no way. Like, you know what I mean? And this, and, you know, you writing and they come to you like, would you like some more champagne while you write? And I'm like, yeah, sure. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure. Like, last week I was in the shower recording my verse.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, sure. Would you like some crab legs and while you guys write? Wow. Sure. Bring them. You know what I mean? So it's a whole nother world. Like, you know what I mean? You on this side, then you on that side. And it's cool. Like, I get to dance in both worlds, but I would never reveal who I pen for. Like, that's just code. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, they would have to say it. They would have to come out and be like, yo, boom, boom. Then I'll be like, all right, cool. You know.
It was funny because my boy, again, Peter Parker, was like, I didn't really like that song Shoop by Salt and Pepper until I figured out that Freddie Fox wrote it.
Right, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it goes. And can you imagine the checks he got off that? That thing is in every movie.
I know, man.
You know what I mean? Like, every rom-com movie, that thing has been ringing forever, you know? Right, so
man. What do you think about people that say, yo, you ain't a real MC if you ain't writing your shit?
I mean, that rings true. You know, here's the thing, and I've talked about this before. If you're an artist and you're not looked at as, yo, I'm one of the nicest in the world and nobody's better, and you're not writing, that's corny. But if you're an artist who's just making hit records and getting busy and putting out hits, that's whatever. Beautiful. You know what I mean? Some of the greatest records of all time, R&B, pop, whatever, were written by other people or multiple people. But hip hop is the thing where it's like you're not singing, you're not dancing, you're not carrying 8 octaves like Mariah Carey. So what are you doing? Or you're not even writing? Then what are you here for? Like in other genres of music, it's cool because it's like, well, Usher may not write all that, but Usher could sing through the roof and Usher could dance better than everybody. So it's cool if Usher didn't write that and Brian Michael Cox and Jermaine Dupri did. Like, you know what I mean? It's fine. But when it comes to hip hop, it's like you don't have to sing, you don't have to dance, you don't have to do any of this other stuff. All you got to do is rhyme. All you got to do is write and rhyme. And if you're not doing that, then what are you doing? If you're just making hit records and you're just a hell of an artist, hell, you ain't nothing wrong with it. Give me a call. You know what I mean? But the guys who scream, yo, I'm the nicest, whatever. If those guys didn't write, it would be crazy. You know what I mean? So like that's the thing. I clearly don't have a problem with ghostwriting because I ghostwrite. You know what I mean? But on the flip side, I would never have somebody ghostwrite for me. You know what I mean? Like if the day ever came, God forbid, that I didn't have it no more, I would just leave it alone. The only person I would let write for me is my son. Like and that would be the coolest shit in the world. You know what I mean? Yeah, like in 20 years, if I'm 50 something years old and my son is 23 and he's rhyming and I'm like, man, I don't got it no more. And he's like, yo, Pops, do this record with me. I'm like, Miles, I don't got it. If he's like, I'll write the verse, I'll be like, all right, cool, I'll do that. You know what I mean? Like that would actually be really cool.
Yeah. And the last thing I got to ask you, man, is you're a really down to earth dude, humble dude. And a lot of people, a lot of rappers with your success, it would go right to the head and it just doesn't phase you at all. It's like you like, obviously you want success and everything, and you might acknowledge this, but it doesn't like you don't think you're above anything really, like,
because at the end of the day, we all people. Now I'm not gonna let nobody talk crazy and disrespect in person or whatever, but we all people, man. So like my thing is like whether it's the gram or whatever comments, I try to respond to everybody, man. And if I don't, it's because I missed it. You know what I'm saying? Like I literally try to respond to everybody, man. Sometimes I'll be like, damn, I gotta go on the gram. It's gonna be like 200 comments, and I gotta respond to everybody. That's just a personal thing. Nobody told me to do that. That's just a personal thing, because they here today, they could be gone tomorrow. They could be gone today. They could be like, yeah, I ain't rocking with that no more. So you got to really appreciate and understand and value people tapping in with you. You know what I mean? Like, I appreciate that shit. When people press and play, living by the music, talking about all they listen to is my shit. Like, man, I'm honored by that, Like, so I'm not above letting people know, yo, it's love, baby. I appreciate you, man. I'm not above chopping it up with somebody for 5 minutes at the merch table while there's a line. Like because if you're telling me how the music impacted you, I gotta respect that and I gotta appreciate that wholeheartedly. So I'm dedicated and committed to remaining humble, man. You know what I mean? Like super duper. Like I was raised that way. I was raised on old school morals and values, man. So I believe in that shit.
Oh, word. Well, thank you. More rappers.
You all right.
Learn from that because I feel like a lot of rappers they sabotage their career by not doing that or they
start humble and then they buzz a little bit and then now they out of here. Then when they come back down, it's yo, what's up? You can keep all that, man. Like keep all that because it wasn't like that a year ago. You know what I mean? So
got to be cool with your people and treat people with respect no matter who they are.
Absolutely.
But words, Guy, thank you. And
thank you, man. I appreciate the love.
Yeah, and
all the brilliant things right now. Go get it. Everybody's going crazy over it, man, and calling it the album of the year. They not lying. It is a beautiful piece of work. I was curious to see how the people would respond to it, and it's been ringing way wilder than I thought it would. I knew people would be on it, but the way this thing is ringing is crazy. Like I can't even keep up with it. I'm doing like 20 Zooms a day. I'm like kind of zoomed out. You know what I'm saying?
No, thank you.
But it's all good. You know what I mean? It's because the day will come where they don't want to Zoom with you. And you don't want that day. So while they're here, do it. You know what I mean? So it's love.
Cool. We're going to end on that note. I want to thank everybody tuning in to Leedz Edutainment Podcast with special guest Skyzoo. Thank you, brother. We'll talk soon.
Peace and love, my man. Let's get me back to Boston.
Yes, definitely. Coming soon.
Let's do it. All right, bro.
Peace.